Welcome to CultureAlley Mandarin. 你好, this is Basic Mandarin Lesson 6. Let's start by going over some of the phrases that you learned in the last lesson. Good morning translates to 早安. Good afternoon or good evening translates to 晚上好. Good night translates to 晚安. Wonderful translates to 太好了. Good day, everyone translates to 大家好. And finally, it's nothing really translates to 哪里. Let's start today's lesson. Today, we shall have a simple conversation about meeting new friends. Today, we will learn how to introduce ourselves to new people we meet. Let's get started. Let's begin by discussing a few titles, starting with friends. In Mandarin, friends translates to 朋友. Here's a peculiarity to note. In Pinyin, the letter P is pronounced with a mixture of the P and B sounds. Its pronunciation is close to that of P, as in 朋友. Now, let's look at the tones involved in saying friends in Mandarin. 朋 is pronounced with a mid-rising tone, like 朋, while 友 is pronounced with the falling rising tone, like 有. Great! Note that friends and friend both translate to 朋友 only. Mandarin usually employs quantity words or measure words to indicate plurality, while the plural form of the word remains the same as its singular form. An example of what we just learned can be seen in the following case. One friend translates to 一个朋友, and two friends becomes 两个朋友, where 一 and 两 are numbers 1 and 2, and 个 is the measure word. The word 朋友, however, does not change. Let's hear you say friend in Mandarin one more time. 朋友. Great! Now let's learn how to say girlfriend, boyfriend, and young friend as well. Girlfriend or female friend translates to 女朋友. Let's see what the new word we learned means. 女 means girl, daughter, female, or woman, and is pronounced with a falling rising tone. Can you say 女朋友? Good job! Now let's see how we say boyfriend. Boyfriend or male friend is translated as 男朋友. Again, 男 means male or man and is pronounced with a mid-rising tone. Let's try and say 男朋友. Wonderful! Let's look at the last one in the category. Young friend becomes 小朋友. Let's learn what 小 means and how to say it. 小 means small or young and is pronounced with a falling rising tone. Recall that X in Mandarin is pronounced with a shi sound. That's why 小 starts with shi. Can you say 小朋友? Good! 小朋友 is often used to address children as well. You're doing great so far. Let's do a quick review of what we learned till now. Friend translates as 朋友, while female friend or girlfriend translates as 女朋友. Male friend or boyfriend becomes 男朋友. And lastly, young friend is translated as 小朋友. Great! Now you know how to address all your friends in Mandarin. Now, let's move on and learn how to say Mr., Mrs., and Miss in Mandarin. Let's start with Miss. The word Miss translates to 小姐, where the word 小 means young or little, and the word 姐 becomes elder sister. Thus, Miss literally translates to young lady in Mandarin. Let's look at the pronunciation for this. 小 and 姐 are both pronounced using the falling rising tone, where X carries the shi sound in 小. Let's hear you say 小姐. Once again, it's 小姐. Good work! So now we know that Miss translates to 小姐. Let's move on to the next title. The word Mr. is translated as 先生. Let's see how. The word 先 means early or prior, while the word student translates to 生. Thus, Mr. literally translates to prior student in Mandarin. Let's see how we pronounce Mr. in Mandarin. 先 is pronounced using the high level tone, or the first tone, while 生 is pronounced using the neutral tone. Let's hear you say 先生. Very good. Keep it up. We've learned that Mr. translates to 先生. Let's see what Mrs. translates as. In Mandarin, Mrs. becomes 夫人. Mrs. literally means madam, and is used while referring to a married woman. Let's see the pronunciation for the words we just learned. Fu is pronounced using the high level tone, or the first tone, while run is pronounced using the neutral tone. Let's hear you say 夫人. Good work! Once again, Mrs. translates to 夫人. Nice job! Now let's take a quick look at what we just learned. Miss translates to 小姐, while Mr. becomes 先生, and Mrs. translates as 夫人. All right, it's quiz time now. Let's see if you remember what we've learned till now. How do you say young friend in Mandarin? Would you say 先生? Or would you say 小朋友? Or could it be 女朋友? Young friend translates as 小朋友 in Mandarin. How do we say Mr. in Mandarin? Do we say it as 我是? Or is it 小姐? Or do we say 先生? The correct way of saying Mr. in Mandarin is the third option. That is 先生. Good work! Now, let's move on and learn the vocabulary for self-introduction. There are two ways of saying what your name is, one formal and the other informal. Let's begin with the formal one. I, or me, translates to 我, Let's learn the pronunciation for 我. 我 is pronounced using the falling rising tone. Can you say 我? Great! Let's move on to the next word. Name is translated as 名字 in Mandarin. Let's see how it is said. 名字 is pronounced with a mid-rising tone. Let's try and say 名字. Good job! Now, let's see how we say my name is by breaking up the sentence into individual words. My translates to 我. Name translates to 名字. And is becomes 是. Also, I is supported by the possessive particle de to make it my. Let's take a closer look at the particle de. The particle de is a possessive particle used in possessive pronouns. For example, mine translates to 我的. De can also be used for emphasis. Now that we know a little bit about the particle de, let's get back to our sentence. My name is translates to 我的名字是. Did you get that? It's 我的名字是. Great! Let's move on. Now, let's take a look at the informal way of telling your name. In future, we shall stick to the informal way of telling names only. Let's learn the vocabulary involved in this. As we already know, I or me translates to 我. To be called translates to 叫. Let's learn the pronunciation of this new word. 叫 is pronounced in the falling tone, also known as the fourth tone. Let's hear you say 叫. Great job! Another way of saying my name is in Mandarin is to say I am called. As we can see, I am called translates to 我叫, and may even be translated as I am named. Now, let's move on and see how we can say our surname in Mandarin. To be surnamed is translated as Xing. Xing is spoken in the falling tone, also known as the fourth tone. Also remember that X is always spoken with a Shi sound in Mandarin. Let's hear you say Xing. Wonderful! Thus, we can see that my surname is translates to 我姓. Just as with names, this may also be translated as I am surnamed. Here's something you should know. Name and surname both form an integral part of Chinese culture. Thus, the two words 叫 and 姓 are important to learn. Also, we can see that the to be verb am is not translated in both cases, as we are saying I am named or I am surnamed, as opposed to my name is or my surname is. Named here acts as an adjective describing the person and is therefore not translated. It's the same as saying I am tall, and as we learned, is, am, etc. are not translated before an adjective. Great! We're through with the lesson for the day. Now, let's review. I translates to 我. Name becomes 名字. To be surname is translated as 姓. And lastly, to be called becomes 叫. Excellent! Now it's time for a little quiz. Let's see if you remember what we've just covered. How do we say my name is in Mandarin? Would we say 我的名字是? Or can we say 我姓是? Or do you think the answer is 我的叫? The correct way to say my name is in Mandarin is 我的名字是. How do we say I am named in Mandarin? Do we say 我是 or 我姓 or 我叫? The correct way to say I am named in Mandarin is the third option, 我叫. Good work! Now, let's look at all the words we learned today one more time. Miss translates to 小姐. Mr. becomes 先生, while Mrs. is translated as 夫人. Similarly, female friend or girlfriend translates to 女朋友. Male friend or boyfriend becomes 男朋友. And young friend is translated as 小朋友. Moving on with the review, I translates to 我, and name becomes 名字. To be surnamed is translated as 姓, and to be called as 叫. Let's take an example. Informally, my family name is Wang, translates to 我姓王. While formally, my name is Wang Peng, becomes 我的名字是王鹏. Informally, my name is Wang Peng, is translated as 我叫王鹏. Good work! And now it's time for your favorite part of the lesson, the culture leaf. Today's culture leaf signifies the importance of the color yellow in China. Yellow, also called the color of the earth, is considered the most beautiful color. The Chinese saying, yellow generates yin and yang, implies that yellow is the center of everything. Yellow often decorates royal palaces, altars, and temples, and the color was used in the robes and attire of the emperors. Yellow also represents freedom from worldly cares, and is thus esteemed in Buddhism. That's why amongst garments are yellow, as are elements of Buddhist temples. Here you can see a picture of a Chinese Buddhist monk in a yellow robe in Shanghai, China. In the next lesson, we will learn how to ask someone their family name and maiden names. We hope you enjoyed your lesson today. See you at the alley for the next one.